I'm going to call this meeting to order. Mary, read the roll, please.
Rumble,
Here.
Thompson, Howard,
Here.
Ferris,
Here.
Garcia.
Here. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to thank all those who are present as well as those who are joining us online. We move on to item C, approval of agenda. I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll move.
Have a motion by Commissioner Brombaugh. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner Howard. Any questions or concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Ferris,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Thompson, Rumble,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Okay, move on to item number 2, public comment. Chief, anybody signed in? Okay. Move on to item number 3, consent agenda. Item A, October 4th, 21, commission meeting minutes, appropriation ordinances under item B, 2021-20, 2021-28, 2021-P20. Accept a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Have a motion by Commissioner Ferris. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner Howard. Questions or concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Howard,
Yes.
Thompson, Ferris,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Move on to item number 4, ordinances and resolution. Item A, resolution 1578 under the CID. Sharice?
Mary, do you want to talk about this? You want me
It
to?
doesn't matter. This is your CID policy that was adopted, and before the resolution always had a termination date. And when Jake rewrote this one, he just changed it so that it keeps going unless you guys see a need that it needs to be repealed. And that's the only change in it other than the website link.
Yeah, so the only changes are going to be in section 15. It's the updated link for the CID information on the website. And under section 19, so he rewrote the resolution and changed the termination as continuous, right? Until it's repealed by the commissioner and so
Yeah,
forth.
if you guys think it's no longer economically feasible, then you guys would pass a resolution to stop it.
That's the only, so that's the only 2. Any questions from the commission? Okay. I would entertain a motion under ordinances and resolution to accept item A, resolution 1578.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Howard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ferris. Any questions, concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Rumble,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Thompson, Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Move on to item 5 under formal actions. Item A, disclosure compliance services proposal. Sharice?
Again, this is one of Mary's issues. It's with Gilmore and Bell, the disclosure, which is a very common practice that you have to do when you have bonds, and they charge you very minimally at $1,200 per year to perform the service.
And the agreement had expired?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 5-year
This
agreement.
Five,
This was our last year.
yeah, right.
And so that's why they're renewing it, and they're renewing it at the same price.
And a pretty reasonable fee
Oh,
for what they
yeah.
did.
Oh, yeah.
Any questions, concerns from the commissions? I'll entertain a motion. Item A to approve the disclosure compliance services renewal for Bell and Gilmore.
I'll move.
Have a motion by Commissioner Brombaugh. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Ferris. Any questions or concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Thompson, Howard,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Thank you. Move on to item B, the purchase approval for a street department trailer. Sharice?
For the mini excavator. We had a trailer that we thought was going to work great for it and ended up not being heavy duty enough. So we went and got some proposals from Hitchcock's and from Better Built Trailer here in Greenfield. And theirs was in under at 6,400, and that's the one recommended by staff to purchase.
And the money's already in the budget.
Yes.
Caitlin, you can chime in if you want to. This is the one that you like the best?
Well, Hitchcock's only had one in stock, and that would work, and
For them to order anything, they're 8 to 9 months out, so it's kind of something we're needing now. So, plus, better builds came in way cheaper, so.
Yeah, sure.
What kind of weight ratings has this got?
It's 1,400 and they recommended going to 14.5 because it's right at, 14,000. It's, and Better Built recommended going to 14.5 tires because it is right at the weight limit of it. Unfortunately, the mini excavator, we didn't put like a size limit on it, where, we're going for an E50 and we got E57, so we got more of a machine for less price, so didn't expect it to be so heavy for our trailer we got, so.
And the funds are available. You had 31,557 remaining in MRF. And this is going to be 6,400.
Yeah. Sure. Any other questions? I will entertain a motion to accept the purchase approval of the trailer for $6,400 to Better Built Trailers.
I'll move.
Who made the motion?
Go ahead.
Brumba?
I'll move.
Okay, I have a motion by Brumba. Do I have a second? Second by Ferris. Any questions or concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Howard,
Yes.
Brumbo,
Yes.
Thompson, Harris,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes, thank you. We move on to item C, the purchase approval for a salt and sand building sureties.
Okay, Kenton's been dealing with what most all cities deal with they try to use basically tarps for the salt coverage. And it didn't work, didn't withstand the winds. So he has been looking for alternatives, and one of the alternatives is to do the concrete work yourself, and then it's already done, and then add the wood frame on top. The wood frame actually was $12,666, and a steel building from Miller Construction Gudlin was $23,610. And we recommend the purchase of the materials from Hoover. We would actually internally do the construction, which saves quite a bit. And after you purchased the trailer, there was still $25,157 remaining in MRF that could be utilized to purchase this.
Sounds like a good deal to me.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys doing the work, and it's a permanent solution, it looks like now. Yeah.
That's the big thing. That part of it,
Yeah.
will hold up to it.
Yep.
We need something that'll last longer, so.
Yeah, I'll move that we go ahead and approve that from Hoover's for $12,666.07.
Have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Brumba. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner Howard. Questions, concerns? Mary, read the roll.
Brumbo,
Yes.
Thompson, Howard,
Yes.
Harris, Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Move on to item D, bid for 2 tracts of land. Cherie?
Okay, we had 2 tracts of land that were utilized to promote housing with Northwest Kansas Housing. They did not finish that development out, and they had come to us and asked if we would be interested in allowing them to sell the lots. Well, no, we can. We'll sell them if there's somebody interested. So Mary went out and did the proposals. Accepted proposals. We did receive only one proposal back, and that was to purchase both lots. And my recommendation to the commission would be to authorize us to go and negotiate with the individual to purchase just the one lot that's closest to the home, and allow us to post on the website and allow Jaleesa to promote the second lot to build a home on. because the second lot, it's my understanding that the buyer would be intending to just keep it for acreage and have more landscaped area. Our goal is to increase the assessed valuation. So it doesn't accomplish that. But if we hang on to it, we can work with someone that's coming in maybe interested in putting a house on it. So that's, I would make that recommendation to the commission to allow us to sell lot, tract number 2 for $3,500 to the individual that offered. Just a second. Commissioner Thompson suggested that we go back and negotiate $7,000 for the first lot. So just want to make that clear for you before we move on.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
What, did they specify what was gonna be built on that track?
It's my understanding that they're going to build a garage. And what we could do, even in the negotiation process, is say it has to be built within a certain period of time.
So Commissioner Thompson is recommending 7,000?
Mm-hmm.
That was supposed to be for housing,
Mm-hmm.
what was originally set up.
Quite a.
Did
So first, before I open discussion, before I ask from the DIS panel anything, so what does the commission think about the 7,000 that Commissioner Thompson is proposing?
Did anybody research and see how much a lot actually goes for? Typically in Gunma, and I didn't. I spaced it.
I didn't.
I'm just familiar with a couple examples. There's one that's going to be built backing up to the cemetery. I think it's just recently sold at around 10 on that.
That's
back of the Rosewood edition,
Rosewood
you know,
edition.
yeah. Back on that north side line towards the end.
Yeah, he said the 7 was what he found on the county's website for, it's got to be the assessed valuation of it.
So looks like you. Jesse, do you understand what they're doing? So what do you guys think?
I think we're gonna need some time to think about it.
Thank you, Jesse. All right, well, I'm sorry, thank you for the bid. Now, one of the things that I wanted to say that here, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we passed an ordinance that when you build, kind of like a shop, in order to keep the beauty of the aesthetics in the community, that you have to put either split stones or brick or whatever and build a driveway all the way up to so if you guys want to reconsider, we thank you for your interest in it. And then, the commission can reconvene and maybe visit a little further in regards. We've got one here that sells for 10,000. This commissioner said that, 7,000 for one, lot. So, well, probably you can stay in touch with either Cherise or the new incoming city manager, Ken or Mary, and both, we'll keep you advised.
Okay,
All right, any other questions?
I think that covers it, sir.
All right,
This is
okay,
right by the two college
yeah,
homes that just got built.
yes.
So I
Mhm.
think it's a little bit different. In my mind, I was just pulling it up. I didn't get a chance to look at where it was at. So
I think the intent of the garages was to kind of backfill some of the empty lots that were staggered, that were really small. And I think it kind of goes against the heart of what we were trying to accomplish with that, to do that in this area when you have new builds going up right there.
I mean, like Gary said, the original point was for houses to be built there.
So, okay, so now, so just so that the dioceses understand, it seems like
I probably wouldn't be in favor of it.
the consensus would not be in favor of building a shop. Do you understand that? Okay.
Okay, so based off the consensus, I will work with Mary and Jaleesa to promote those on the website for sale for housing purposes. So we won't be going out for proposals again. So you'll be looking at individuals that may be coming in and just randomly coming in and saying, I'm interested in buying that. We won't go back and look at proposals because we've done it once.
Well, I don't know that I necessarily would just want somebody from out of town that would be interested in those lots. If somebody, if it's a local contractor or somebody wants to
Well, yeah,
build
it
a
could be
new
anybody.
home, they should be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just you're putting it on there
yeah,
so
right,
that they see it.
exactly.
But, and then we would do I would recommend that you do housing and that there's a deadline for the house to be constructed.
Sure.
And some cities, even if you've got a fairly new development, if it's a certain price house, you may want to be specific on the price of the housing that you want to go in there. So, just so you're staying consistent.
Well, I think you've got direction from the commission on this
Okay.
one. Thank you, Jesse. All right. We move on to item E, CDBG grant number. Now, before we go into this application, I want to inform the commission that in the event that some discussion that names cannot be mentioned, if there needs to be a discussion, then we need to go into executive session. Just to protect the individuals that are applying for this grant. Dan, floor is all yours.
All right, thank you. My name is Dan Steffen, and I'm here on behalf of the Planning and Development Commission here in the region. And of course, the Planning and Development Commission is hired as the City of Goodland CDBG CV grant administrator. And I have a CDBG CV3 drawdown number 1 in the amount of $36,700. And this draw includes one business, which qualifies for $30,000, and along with the drawdown, the Planning Commission's administration billing. And page 2 of the documents, you can see there's a remaining balance of $106,600 for businesses and $6,700 still for administration. And this is the only application that is eligible and complete so far. So any questions regarding the drawdown?
No questions for me. I mean, I looked at the figures and everything, so we would have the total amount of $30,000 for the application and the $6,700 that would go for administrative services. The questions that I would have is, number 1, do we have a printout of what actually, what type of qualifications a business has to fill out or qualify? How do they qualify, and what are the regulations?
You should have that information from the application for the CV3 application. Basically, in a nutshell, businesses that are eligible are those that, number 1, they have to be a for-profit business. They have to show in the application a need based upon due to a loss due to COVID, be it being during the shutdown or loss of revenues since, March, I think it's March 20th, 2020. or March 1st. They had to be in business before March 1st, 2020, and then the loss during that time, during the COVID impact timeframe. Businesses that received the PPP funds, Paycheck Protection Program monies, covering those wages are not eligible because they've already been covered through the PPP program. But any other lost wages that they can show, they're eligible. The application goes to the city. The qualifications are the business has to have at least retained one low to moderate income individual as an employee. The limitations are based upon if a business has 1 to 5 employees, then they're eligible for up to $25,000 per job that qualifies as LMI, with a maximum of $30,000. So if they have 1 out of the 5, 1 through 5, then they're eligible for $25,000. 2 or more, then they're eligible for $30,000. Businesses with 6 to 50 employees are eligible for $35,000 per job, and again, that's LMI positions, up to a total of $50,000. So if they have 2, then they're eligible for $50,000.
So the applications are filled here and then they're approved by you guys?
Well, I'm not familiar with, some cities are utilizing their city council to determine the applications, who's funded. Some cities are utilizing a committee to make recommendations as to who's funded and who's not. In some cases, they're leaving it up to the staff with the Planning and Development Commission. But we're available to look at the applications and verify that they are eligible, yes, regardless of how the decision is made.
Well, in this case, the commission, has before them, and they're the ones that
Right.
approve it, so. Any questions for Dan?
I don't have anything.
Jamie?
No. Thank you.
Gary?
No.
All right. Well, I guess then I will entertain a motion on item E, the CDBG grant, withdraw down.
If you need the wording, it's drawdown number 1
Yeah,
for grant number 21-CV-131.
139.
I'll move to draw down number 1, CDBG grant number 21-CV-131.
Okay. Have a motion by Commissioner Brownbaugh, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner Howard. Any questions or concerns? Mary, go.
Howard,
Yes.
Thompson, Ferris,
Yes.
Brownbaugh,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Okay, thanks, Dan.
You bet.
I need to sign, yeah.
Signatures, yes. We've got copies for Mary's signature and then.
Okay, we move on to item 6, item A, reallocation of nuisance funds. Sharice?
Commissioner Brumbaugh mentioned to me that he would like to see the $40,000 that was budgeted for condemnations utilized to address nuisances. So I went back and looked at it. You've done some different things in the past. Condemnations, obviously one of them that you were kind of holding the money for, but it's too late in the year to get that accomplished before the money would just roll over into the cash balance for next year. So what I did was put a few options together for you to consider and give this direction to staff on what what of the four options, or if there's another option that you want to consider utilizing the funds for. The first one would be a dead tree removal program. This one is probably one of my favorites because it's easy to wrap up fairly quickly. You take a proposal and you can issue the contract, and they have longer than the contract to complete it, but it commits your money, so you can encumber it and not roll it over. The second option would be to look at the SCCD for a program that they could use these funds for incentives to utilize for commercial businesses maybe, or even keep going with your housing one. Either way, to rehab buildings. Right now, you have to condemn them to go through the condemnation process, but if you can keep from condemning them, rehabbing them is an option, but there's a lot of additional costs when they're so close to being able to be condemned. So that's an option for you to give consideration to. And then a third option is to provide the funds to the park department for a purchase of additional pre-emergence chemicals that could be applied now or this fall to prevent weeds from being a problem next year. So that would help with the nuisance for next year. And then also the fourth one would be to work with the department heads to identify any structures owned by the city that may need substantial maintenance renovations. And right now, I think we didn't have any that we could identify needing that much.
The only thing I can think of is that lean-to down east,
We was to remodel it, but that's the only thing that, all the other buildings are in good shape.
Okay.
So,
just
just
some
some
options,
options,
and I'm
and I'm-
certainly happy to hear any other options that you want us to consider.
So this was just out of, we've gone through two code enforcement people this year, and usually we've had a few unfit structures, that we've dealt with already. And I guess because of turnover and change and whatever, nothing's been done on that side of it. And so, wanting, when we're too late in the year to get a property on the list to do anything with, this was the next best option to try to make some improvements around town that we still have budgeted for, because that's the kind of point of it. I'm not held, I don't have a preference really over any of these, just that something gets done. So.
I'm pretty open to it. I mean, like Danny could use some, or, some of the departments that, that need to, I don't know, you also might look at, like if the electrical crew is out and they look at some trees that say, hey, these are definitely in the way, and, might, throw some money there,
What we could do is work with Danny to see what the cost for the lean-to would be to make repairs, and then Dustin can help us through with some ideas on locations for trees.
Kenton might have some ideas too, maybe that, that he needs.
And we may have some in our own parks.
And Kent just had that in his future plans to remodel that, so.
Good. All right.
We did all that in-house, we just bought the materials.
More or less, we just, one end of it, we already enclosed. We'd like to
We
enclose
would
the
like
other
to do the other one.
portion sometime.
Okay, so basically 1 and 4, you're interested in pursuing? And again, Commissioner Thompson, he sent me a text on that one.
Like, some people, I don't know if any example to mind, but I'm sure there's someone around town that, no different than trying to fix up their place and doesn't have money, that some of the trees are in pretty bad shape, and even the safety issue, there's no way they can afford to get rid of them. Those would come to mind if they have those around.
Okay. Commissioner Thompson said of the options shown, he would prefer using the funds towards pre-emergent for parks or city property maintenance. If we don't use the funds, they will go into the general fund, which is correct. He said that wouldn't be a terrible thing either. And he would probably prefer that option, just to have a little more breathing room going into next year, but the other options are good choices that wouldn't be a waste of the funds. And I did reduce it from, with discussions with Mary, from the 40,000 that's budgeted to 30,000 for that purpose, so, in the recommendation.
I think if we can spread it around, help Danny out with some of that, his pre-emergent and the building and however far it gets and with some trees maybe that the city has to get rid of.
Okay.
How much?
Because I know there's one in the park over by West School that needs to be taken care of, the tree over there. It's getting pretty,
The one over Phillips Park,
yeah,
yeah, there on the corner.
yep.
Yeah. It's on the list, it's just,
What's the pre-emergent run?
I would have to price it and see
How much of that would take?
Normally, we just do the public building, city office, arts center, airport with pre-emergent, just because we just don't have the money in the budget to do the parks and everything. But I could sure get a figure for Sharice.
Does that out by the front, that one entrance on the south or by the Van Gogh, does that get pre-emergent out in that area?
No.
So I'd be,
Where that's not, watered,
yeah.
some of that needs to be watered in, we just don't have the water to put it on there.
Looks like we're pretty much on consensus, so,
Yeah,
you know how
1,
to
3,
move.
and 4.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
want us to come back, or are you comfortable with us?
No,
making-
I'm comfortable with the way, however the staff decides to do it. I think, like, Dustin knows where there might be some, so, he'll point them out.
Okay.
So I'm pretty comfortable.
Okay.
Okay, we move on to item number 7, item A, interim city manager. Sure.
To report other than thank you, and you have a great staff, and I'm back to retirement.
It's your last meeting, right?
Yeah. So I'll send you guys out a report for this week, and then I've been working on a report for Kent that kind of gives him an update on things where the status and what still needs work out there and such. And so he'll have that Friday. He was in this morning working already on the comp plan with us. So that was good. And then we'll have a wrap up on that tomorrow, just on the first phase. So it's going great.
Thank
You have
you
an
for
excellent staff.
everything you've done. You've done a great job. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Everyone's enjoyed you, I think. So.
Thank you. It's
Move
just
on
cost
to-
me my driving record.
Move on to city commissioners report, JD.
So what's really been on my mind this week, and since I guess last week, was this sales tax coming up that the county's proposing for the sunsetting, and I think you all been looking at that proposal too. And I don't know, my mind's gone a lot of different places, and I think disappointment's probably one of the first things that comes to mind with how this has been put together. I've been on here, I'm heading out off my, I don't know whether to call it a sentence or term, 4-year term coming to a close here. But we are doing a really good job working with the county the first couple of years, and not so much the last couple. And I guess we had part of this first go around. And if I'm mess up and don't get the facts correct, please correct me. This is what I'm going off of, what I've known, but and what they're proposing too. But this is going to be a huge hit for the city. That isn't going to be able to be made up any way easy. It's going to handcuff those coming into our, at least this seat in the future. And even according to their estimates, at 1.5 million a year, right? 1% sales tax.
Well, 1.2 is what this, I don't know where they got 1.5.
Well, it's projected 1.5 a year. It's kind of blurry, but
1.53.
Yeah.
the consistency of those sales tax being what, about
I
1.?
think it's projected over the 20 years, and they
Okay.
probably raised it a little bit for the growth and whatnot, but,
Mhm.
you know, that's over $30 million. That's, you know, with the current plant, with the current setup, we get half of that, right?
Approximately.
So to speak. The proposals, the city gets zero. It's $30 million of revenue, we're out 15 million. I think a lot of time and effort has been put into this commission, the cities, the employees, to take care of expenses are on our side, to do everything possible, blood, sweat, and tears, to keep from raising property taxes, to hold the line, to do as best we can for the employees, for the taxpayer, and then to get a hit like this when the county has raised property taxes over the years, substantially in some cases, and then to want to take all of this going forward is not right. And I think it would have been nice to work together. That was the whole point of this, and that was my real thought coming into this. The city and the county needs to work together, and I don't know why that didn't happen. I know in a couple of years past that it was kind of floated that this was going to go this way, possibly in one of the meetings we had when we were having joint meetings, and we've always started kind of our objective to go on that route, and I guess decided to go that route of this proposal. Not a single road in the city will get done, and I think it is a bad proposal for that purpose. Seems like we've worked great together on the fire department and the ED part coming together, and then all the efforts out the interstate, which has the biggest amount of potential even that we have. And I'd much rather go that route as far as revenue generating, especially with the amount of traffic coming in, and be able to generate as much revenue out there, which is going to help subsidize. We've been saying that all along, everything we do in here to keep property taxes low, where those traveling down the interstate are helping to pay for what we do right here. But in this instance, they're paying for everything outside of the city to get done. I'm not saying all these roads, I'm sure, have to be done and have to be taken care of, but we should have a part in this, and we should have had some say in this, and we should at least maintain what we had before, because it is a huge change. And I don't know where, well, I know where it's going to have to be made up to continue where we go. You have to, probably end up, what we've tried to avoid is, raising the mill levy over the years to try to be the best stewards we can. And it's just, you got 20 years to work with, of all the, we've had a new motel out there. We got a new 24/7 build. We've done a lot of things that is generate more money from this commission side of it, and we get none of it off of this. In 20 years, if that east exit blows up, if something big happens out there, then, there's a lot that can happen in 20 years. I hope it does. I hope there's a big project that happens out there, but under this, we get nothing. It would have been nice to at least include maybe the main streets, Caldwell, 8th Street, some of those that need to be done. They're not going to be easy ones to do because they're going to have to come down. 8th Street, that's going to have to come down. That's not going to be just a typical deal anymore. Where's that money come from? It's not coming from this. I guess disappointment is the biggest thing I have to say about this proposal, that we can't work together on something like this for as big as if this proposal is going to be, and the impact it's going to have on us as a county and a city. Moving forward, the two entities have got to work together on big projects like this, or we'll continue to be looking in the rearview mirror. and seeing others prosper and us falling farther behind. You cannot go alone on things anymore. Whatever project it is, people have got to work together. That's all I got.
Thank you, JD. JJ?
I concur with JD on that, on this 1% sales tax. I've thought about it the same way. I mean, we're all one community and we should all work together. It's just not for the county. It should be all for the city and the county. And to get left out in the cold, it's a stab in the back per se. You know, and it's what else can a person do, you know? And you'd have thought that they'd have came and talked to us about it at least. But that's all I've got. I'd like to thank all the employees and everything. I'd like to thank Sharice for coming and filling in when we needed her. And I hate to see her go, but it is what it is. And and that's it.
Gary?
Well, I can't see where the road work they're gonna do is gonna last 20 years anyway. I kinda agree with you guys on it. And thanks for your work
Yeah, thank you.
and everybody that's working for the city. And that's all I got.
Well, under the mayor's report, I think here about a month or a meeting ago, I tried to congratulate Sharice, and I didn't realize she still had another. But Sharice, you've definitely brought, angles and measures to the commission from a different perspective, and you've been great to work with. You're a great listener. You great mediator as well. The whole purpose is to move ahead, and I want to thank you on behalf of the commission and personally for your professionalism and for the willingness to take on the responsibility of when we needed an interim, you stepped up, and hopefully you've had an opportunity to work with a great staff, and we've had an opportunity to work with you, and so thank you for everything that you've done, and you'll pass by here again.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know you go to Kansas City a lot, but
Yeah.
you'll be back.
Grandkids are that way.
So thank you anyway for all that you do.
Thank you.
On this other issue, it does concern me, and I tell you, the reason that it concerns me is because most of us have been in capacities of leadership for years, and when it comes to budget time, you have the content of monies that are projected by the clerks and city manager, and they say, here's what you have to do. And so my question has always been, knowing that the need has been there perpetually for years, why wouldn't they just start budgeting? Setting aside $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 a year to meet that need. Now, we realize that, when you're in retail, you already get complaints about sales tax being so high in comparison to our neighboring counties. So, but it's always been easy to sell the sales tax issue because of the accomplishments, as you have alluded to, that we were making. We were great players in the fire merger, the economic development, great players, in the nursing home. Everything that they came to us, we granted them, we worked with them. And so I agree with the commission. It's very disappointing that they made such a big step without consulting with us and say, what do you guys think? Since the majority of the voters live, in the city, and that's where it'll either pass or it's going to fail. And so I don't know all, the answers and all the
questions to it. I think, you know, that it's something that, you know, maybe the commissioners will come to us. Of course, it's already, you know, going to the vote, but, you know, I feel like the least that could have happened, they could have opened the dialogue for conversation with us. And I've said this, you know, many times, that it's not the county, it's not the city, it is all of us working together in order to move this community forward and continue, and we were making and continue to make great strides. But until we frame the mentality to say, hey, unless we continue to work together, you know, we won't accomplish the things that could have been accomplished. And there's always, you know, things to learn from every decision that you make, but it is the decision that they made, and they're the county commissioners, like we're the city commissioners. You know, we budget for the city every year. We allocate where we want the monies to go, and the same happens in the county. So that's all that I have under the mayor's report. Thank you guys for what you're doing, all the department heads, and we'll look forward to moving together with our new city manager, Ken Brett, at our next meeting. If there are not any other concerns or issues that need to be brought before the commission, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Brown. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Ferris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Mary, I'll see you early in the morning.